on, wait. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. It is Thursday. We have the jobless claims unemployment report going live at 8:30 today. A lot of stuff happened yesterday during Powell's presser. Qatar Energy did confirm attacks on the Ras Laffan industrial city, which is Qatar's massive LNG hub. Qatar called it a direct threat to national security. Israel killed two more top Iranian figures, including Ali Laraja and their top security official. Currently, Iran is still moving its own crude through the Strait at near pre-war rates, about 1.2 million barrels a day. But yeah, more escalation overnight is scaring markets, to be honest here. And yeah, oil. You can look at gold. Gold is one of the big stories of the day. If we take a look at gold here, hold on, wait. Gold is one of the big stories of the day. If you take a look at it, gold is dumping down here. You can see gold at 46.84s this morning. Looking kind of scary for gold, man. Gold has made some big pullbacks. If we look at a 15-minute chart, here is gold. How many days is this? Over a 5-day period, this is gold. So gold has fallen down from about 5,200s all the way down to 46.84s. 46.84s. Does gold hold here? Chat. Does gold hold here? It's looking weak. It's at 4,700s, just under 4,700s right now. We'll see if gold holds. It's definitely not looking good, I would say. But yeah, Ras Laffan was attacked. The attacks on Qatar's Ras Laffan happened during the power presser. It escalated further overnight. So the Ras Laffan industrial city was hit by missiles. Qatar intercepted 4 or 5 of those missiles, but the 5th one did hit the facility, causing fires and significant damage. If we look at oil, you know, we've been elevated basically every day in regards to the price of oil. Sorry, I got something in my eye. But yeah, Brent crude surged 7% overnight. If we take a look at Brent here this morning, we were looking at Brent today. But if we were looking at Brent this morning, it is elevated. So Brent crude is here. And so you can see from these attacks, Brent crude is currently sitting at about $114 a barrel. It went as high as, I think it got up to like 118s. If we look at Brent, yeah, look at Brent. It got up to 118.20s. So currently over 114s a barrel right now for Brent crude. Definitely elevated. Definitely a little scary. And we'll see what happens here. But Brent crude elevated after the Ras Laffan industrial city was hit. Iran also sent out a list of specific energy facilities it plans to strike next. This includes Saudi Aramco's Samref refinery, the Jubail petrochemical complex, and the UAE's Al Hassan gas field. And so we did have a vessel hit by an unknown projectile off the coast of Ras Laffan overnight, per the UK Maritime Trade Operations Center. And so more escalations. Oil is up. Although oil looks like it's actually a little red on the day. Yeah, oil's a little red on the day, which is good. So maybe we got news of some de-escalation overnight, but markets are still pretty nervous about all this stuff. Today we have the ECB rate decision as well. But yeah, Iran's intelligence minister says 97 individuals were arrested for being soldiers of Israel, according to state media. The Iranian parliament speaker Ghalibaf said, according to statements by Israeli and American officials, 320% of Iran's missile launchers have been destroyed so far. However, Iran continues to launch missiles at a high rate. Now the enemy aims to destroy up to 500% of them, a unique achievement for the U.S. military. The EU Parliament is going to hold a vote on a trade deal with the U.S. next week as well. But Europe also came out this morning. One of the big breaking news releases is that Europe came out this morning saying to the president, this is not our war, as the Iran war hits day 20. And so I can see CL futures at about 96.69s right now. S&P futures at about $6,661. Dow futures Dow's had a really tough time with all this stuff. Look at the Dow dropping yesterday. The Dow absolutely cratered yesterday. If you look at this chart here, this is the Dow. Huge drops on the Dow. Huge drops. Yeah, these are big drops, not small. Dow at 46,000s here. And if we look at a longer term chart, like an hourly chart, the Dow has dropped from basically 50,000 over the last 20 days since this conflict started to now down to 46,421. And so the Dow is probably what's getting hit the hardest in terms of indexes. Yeah. And what do you guys think we're going to get today here? Do you guys think we're going to get bull or bear action? Let me know in chat right now. Markets are looking a little scary here, guys. Again, man, down every day. The Fed meeting happened yesterday, and we can recap that. Another stock to take a look at, if we're looking at stocks this morning, MU. Negatively reacting to earnings here. They're down a decent percentage from 460s down to 430s for MU. They nearly tripled their revenue on DRAM shortage, but guidance apparently disappointed. And so the disappointing guidance for MU for Micron, they are down this morning as well, gapping down from 460s to the low 430s. They tapped 430 about 5 minutes ago for MU. So we'll see if MU holds here, but they are falling down as well this morning. Again, I'm looking at mostly bears in the chat today. I can't necessarily disagree with you guys now. Mostly bears in the chat. I see some bulls, though. There's a couple bulls out there. It ain't 50K no more regarding the Dow. Yeah, the Dow is not at 50,000 anymore. Here's the Dow. It's not looking good here, man. It's at 46,400s on the Dow. A little scary. Yeah, Bitcoin also overnight fell to under 70,000. So if we take a look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin fell to under 70,000. Let's take a look. It's back over 70 now, it looks like. But it did make this dip all the way down to under 70,000 for Bitcoin here. Here's Bitcoin. It went as low overnight, and early this morning it went as low as 69.5s. But Bitcoin not reacting well, and this is probably from, there's a couple reasons, but this is mostly from Bitcoin wanting easing, and Jerome Powell was not dovish yesterday. He was either neutral or hawkish, depending on, it's kind of subjective what you think he was, but I would say he was slightly hawkish at the very least. And this is bad for Bitcoin. Bitcoin wants easing. So with the hawkish Powell and no rate cuts in sight and potential rate hikes on the year if things get worse, one of the things Powell did say is that he thinks it could get worse. If it gets worse, they'll consider rate hikes, is what he said, basically. And yeah, Bitcoin does not like that. And we could look at this yesterday. Yeah, we can look at this yesterday. Again, how... Let me find... let me see if I can pull up Powell's statement so we can just listen to see what he said during his statement. Usually they might give me a cutout here. Yeah, so here's his introductory statement. So this is Powell's introductory statement from yesterday. We can take a look at this and maybe watch a little bit of this. But yeah, hold on. Let me make sure you guys can hear. Let me know if you guys can hear. Let me mute the music. But this is the introductory statement from yesterday.
My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. The U.S. economy has been expanding at a solid pace. While job gains have remained low, the unemployment rate has been little changed in recent months, and inflation remains somewhat elevated. Today, the FOMC decided to leave our policy rate unchanged. We see the current stance of monetary policy as appropriate to promote progress toward our maximum employment and 2% inflation goals. The implications of developments in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain. We will remain attentive to risks to both sides of our dual mandate. And I'll have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Available indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a solid pace. Consumer spending has been resilient, and business fixed investment has continued to expand. In contrast, activity in the housing sector has remained weak. In our summary of economic projections, the median participant projects that real GDP will rise 2.4% this year and 2.3% next year, somewhat stronger than projected in December. In the labor market, the unemployment rate was 4.4% in February and has changed little since late last summer. Job gains have remained low. A good part of the slowing in the pace of job growth over the past year reflects a decline in the growth of the labor force due to lower immigration and labor force participation, though labor demand has clearly softened as well. Other indicators, including job openings, layoffs, hiring, and nominal wage growth, generally show little change in recent months. In our SEP, the median projection of the unemployment rate is 4.4% at the end of this year and edges down thereafter. Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer-run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.8% over the 12 months ending in February, and that excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 3.0%.
Yeah, so I'm going to stop it there. Yeah, so Powell, a couple things. The big story, I think, regarding the statement here, he's basically saying things are neutral, is what he's saying. But one of the things we got is we got the summary of economic projections yesterday. So we did get the summary of economic projections. One of the things they said in the summary of economic projections, there's a couple things. Let's recap that really quick here. Where'd it go? Hold on. I got too many. There it is. Okay, so yeah, in the summary of economic projections, he put the dot plot. A lot of people were worried during this FOMC drop that we would get more votes for rate hikes this year in 2026, and we didn't actually see that. And so one of the things that we didn't see in this FOMC meeting is that we did not see the dot plot move up towards rate hikes. The 2026 median dot plot path stayed at the same at 3.4%, which is 125 basis point cut. That's unchanged from the last summary of economic projections that we got in December. And so it was basically unchanged. 2027, they added one more cut potential by 2027, and 2028 was unchanged as well. There were no hike dots, so nobody projected rates above current levels. The feared hike scenario didn't materialize, and this is one of the big stories as well. The dots move up towards hikes. We didn't see that. Powell did say that there was a meaningful move of people towards fewer cuts, even though the median did hold, but there were just meaningful moves towards fewer cuts this year. With that said, though, let's take a look at markets here. The Dow is pushing higher right now. Another thing that we got is that we had some big moves in the summary of economic projections regarding inflation. And so we did get some moves towards inflation here. If we take a look at this, you can kind of see up from 2.4% in December. The biggest shift in the summary of economic projections was 2026 headline PCE. It's up from 2.4% in December up to 2.7% now, is what they're projecting for 2026. Core PCE up from 2.5% in December. It's now looking like 2026 core PCE is going to be around 2.7% according to their projections. Core PCE ranges was 2.2 to 2.7%. It's now at 2.2 to 3%, so they raised that as well. So they did raise basically most of these inflation forecasts. And another big surprise is that the GDP growth was revised up, not down. A lot of people were worried about the labor market and the trends that we're seeing in the labor market, and instead GDP growth was revised up, not down, up from 2.3% for 2026, from 2.4 to 2.4%, up from 2% for 2027 to 2.3% and more. So they did raise inflation expectations, and they also raised GDP outlook. So interesting there. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But that is the story of at least some of the Fed meeting in regards to the summary of economic projections here. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Will we get rate hikes this year in 2026? We did have news recently that Iran is reportedly mulling a 10% toll on ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. So we did get news recently around this. Let me put this up in a banner here, but we did get this news just now. Iran is apparently considering a 10% toll. Iran is reportedly mulling a 10% toll on ships that pass through the Strait of Hormuz. We'll see if that happens. We'll see if it happens. Look at this. Yeah, let me do a poll here, guys. So, will we get a rate hike in 2026? Yes or no? That's going to be the poll today. Will we get a rate hike this year in 2026? I'm looking at the Dow here. The Dow is really interesting because the Dow recently popped higher. We did get some Meta news. Meta's abandoning the metaverse. We got some news regarding that earlier, but we also had news that Tesla and Ford are going to produce LFP batteries in the US using Chinese gear, according to the information. And we do have the Bank of England rate announcement today. It's going to be live at about 8 o'clock this morning, Eastern time. So that's in about 25 minutes, I believe, regarding the rate decision by the European Union. Let me see if I can get this right, dude. There we go. Yeah, the metaverse. They should have gotten rid of that a long time ago. I think they probably spent so much money on it that they didn't want to just abandon it. But yeah. We do have jobless claims unemployment at less than an hour though today, guys. So we do have jobless claims unemployment less than an hour. It is Thursday. We also have building permits. So yeah, in 26 minutes we have the Bank of England rate decision. They're expected to maintain the rate at 3.75% because of the Middle East energy worries. They've seen a hawkish repricing and a pushback on calls for a March or April hike. Attention will be on how the Bank of England assesses the impact of the shock and what the policy path might be moving forward, but they're probably going to pause rates today. They might keep optionality open at this stage, though, according to analysts. Again, most people are expecting they hold rates at 3.75%. We could have some dissenters, though, but the Middle East conflict could serve enough of a potential inflationary shock that all members vote for unchanged. So we'll see what the Bank of England does, but they're probably going to be pausing rates. We can take a look at Nvidia. Nvidia, with all the news, is dropping right now. It's now under $180 a share. Look at Nvidia. It has now fallen under $180 a share here. So Nvidia not holding. And another big story, guys, is that Europe tells president this is not our war. This is day 20 of the Iran conflict, but the president is still struggling to find allies that will join him in this conflict and help secure the Strait of Hormuz. And so we're seeing more and more of that over the last week, I would say, regarding all this stuff. We also have Egypt's Sisi is discussing regional developments with the UAE president during a visit there, according to state news. European natural gas prices are up over 30% after the Iran strikes Qatar's largest liquefied natural gas facility, responsible for 20% of global supply. We had Raymond James raise Nvidia's price target to 323 from 290s. Hey, what's up, Big Slum? Yeah, we talking about Venture Global here? Yeah, look at the VIX. VIX is up to almost $26 this morning right now, so the VIX is elevated as well. More volatility and fear on the downside. I see Michael Brown on Twitter posted this. Sell some more CL futures for me. VIX is up. Dow is down. Although I think the Dow might be yeah, it was green for a little while. Really bad day on the Dow yesterday, though, man. Look at this drop on the Dow yesterday. Look at yesterday's drop here. The Dow has fallen. Is it time to buy the dip here? In the Dow. Obviously, it's not risk-free. Where would you buy Nvidia? I mean, I have some of it, but remember, guys, we are not an investment professional here. Before I go deeper into stocks, remember all the stuff on screen here. I am not an investment professional. We are not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Understand all the stuff on screen. Not an investment professional. We are not liable if you lose. You have to make your own assessment. Trade smart. Can't guarantee anything. Nothing here is financial advice. Because we don't give out financial advice, guys. We just don't. And yeah. Let's see what we get today. But yeah, I don't give definite anything here. Like, really. I probably don't even need that disclaimer, to be honest. Because, like, anytime I call out anything, I always tell people the same thing. But yeah, the Dow testing these lows here. Lows of the day, previous closing prices right around here. But again, look at this big drop. So if we crack underneath 46.23s, we could see some red action in the Dow again this morning here. So look, I think a big level here on the Dow. 46.23s right here. Look at 46.300s. So I think that's a big level. Yeah, Brent over 115. More Iranian strikes, Qatar facilities. Yeah, it's still kind of scary out there this morning. Yeah, oil over 115. But the big story is Ross Laughlin getting hit. Again, today we have jobless claims unemployment. It's going to signal some of the labor market health. Jobless claims come out. It's expected at 215 today, 215,000 today. We also get the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. So we're going to get a look at manufacturing today at 8:30. Yeah, so we're going to get a look at manufacturing today at 8:30 and unemployment claims. Jobless claims is a more real-time look. You know, most of the economic data we get can be somewhat delayed at least. Jobless claims is a more real-time look. It is a weekly look at unemployment claims. And so, yeah, jobless claims live 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see what that looks like here, chat. We will see. But 8:30 Eastern Standard Time is when it comes out. We'll see what happens. Let me know if you guys think we'll get higher or lower claims. Remember, with jobless claims, higher claims is worse for the labor market. It means more people filing for unemployment week to week. Lower claims means less people filing for unemployment week to week. And so that is what we get at 8:30. That is what we get at 8:30. We'll see what we get. Yeah, I'm looking at the poll. We did a poll. Will we get a rate hike in 2026? It's honestly more split than I thought it would be. But looking at our poll, 58% say no, 42% say yes. So 58% saying no, we will not get rate hikes this year in 2026. 43% say yes, we will. And as I say that, look at the Dow dropping. I'm looking at the low of the day here, which we're getting very close to hitting on the Dow. Low of the day is at 46,323s on the Dow Jones this morning. We get the European Central Bank decision in about 18 minutes. About 18 minutes, guys, for the ECB decision. The NASDAQ, if we take a look at it today, is not doing good either, and it's getting close to 24,500s. So 24,500s here. This level right here, I think, is relevant, and we are very close to that now. So 24,500, big whole dollar number. I always tell you guys I like these big whole dollar numbers, but that level here is kind of the low. Let me see when the last times we really tested this were. Yeah, the last time we got down under 24,500s was early March, like right when this conflict started. We didn't stay down there long. But if we're looking at longer term levels on the NASDAQ, 24,000 is right here. And so I think we got to watch 24,000. 24.5 makes sense. And we're pushing towards that right now. Look at the NASDAQ get really close to this. So we'll see if we break down under it. We're also watching the Dow. But yeah. It's not looking good. It's not looking good today, guys. So the IEA chief Birol says he met with Chinese ambassador to France, discussed importance of international cooperation to stabilize oil markets. Again, he said he met with the Chinese ambassador to France and discussed the importance of international cooperation to stabilize oil markets. And just to take a look at some stock news here, guys, we did have some stock news. But yesterday, PPI showed up at 0.7% month over month versus 0.3% expected. Another big miss. Core PC inflation projections were raised to 2.7% in the summary of economic projections. And regarding inflation, Powell confirmed inflation has been running above target for 5 years and non-housing services inflation is not coming down. He also said that we weren't in a stagflation environment. He said that word was created in the, I think it was the 70s or 80s, to describe much worse inflation and much worse unemployment. And so he did say we're not in a stagflation environment, but he did acknowledge that there's tensions between the dual mandate goals yesterday. Lululemon yesterday dropped big, but they did have a rebound yesterday after their big drop. So Lululemon dropped big after guiding for 2026 revenue worse than expected here. Nvidia has been getting a boost since GTC, but they're now falling down. But CEO Jensen Huang did confirm Nvidia is developing Grok AI chips for sale in China. He received purchase orders from them, and Bank of America reiterated a buy. But yeah, the big story is oil being elevated on the day here. Baba moving. Look at Alibaba, guys. Alibaba dropping from 142s yesterday in pre-market all the way down to 127s this morning. So we'll see if this weakness continues. All right, so per the Financial Times, they said America has become an agent of chaos in world energy markets. Financial Times. I'm also seeing Redfin say that 67% of Gen Z are struggling to pay for housing compared to 53 to 54% of millennials and 36% of baby boomers. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that's just age. You know, us millennials, we're older, you know. And so when you get older, you generally make more money. And yeah. So again, Alibaba stock is down due to a mix of leadership turnovers, regulatory worries, geopolitical tensions, China's slower growth outlook, and disappointing earnings expectations. They had a resignation of the head of Alibaba's Quinn AI division, which marked the third senior exit in that unit this year. It's kind of scared markets a little bit here with Alibaba. But yeah, bad earnings for Alibaba. Alibaba ended up posting 101, missed the 173 estimate. So they posted a big miss here. I'll put these numbers up in chat. But Alibaba posted a big miss for their earnings. And so Alibaba is gapping down on this. There's Alibaba's numbers right there. I can try to put these up in chat. Oh, I got to pop out the chat. Hold on. But yeah, Alibaba with a big miss. Look at their EPS miss. So this on Alibaba, let me post it again in the chat. Yeah, look at Alibaba's big miss here. So this is not a small miss. They posted 101 EPS for quarter 3, missed 173 estimates. Sales missed 41 billion estimates. They came in at 40.7 billion. So they missed EPS and revenue for Alibaba, and Alibaba is now under $128 a share. So Alibaba down pretty significantly. The whole market's just kind of nervous right now, to be honest here. Goldman Sachs' Snyder said the AI payoff is the biggest question for U.S. investors. Yeah, so Ben Snyder, who is the chief U.S. equity strategist at Goldman Sachs Group, is more than ready. Let's see. So Snyder is facing a major test early in his tenure. Yeah, I mean, Nvidia's just down from all this stuff going on, but Nvidia's dropping really significantly right now. They didn't really move that much from GTC like people thought they would here, even though Jensen Huang said the $1 trillion in AI demand quote. Yeah, silver and gold, a big story of the day, but look at Nvidia, guys. Nvidia down to 178. Silver down to under $71 an ounce. Gold down to like what, 46s? Yeah, 4600s an ounce. Where do these stop here, guys? I think it's all scary right now, to be honest. It's definitely looking a little fearful this morning. Anything you guys like buying right here? List some things you guys like buying. I'll tell you if I'm interested in buying them. Yeah, mixed signals from GTC, growing worries about tighter U.S. export controls on advanced AI chips, limiting sales from China. Yeah, join our Discord, guys. Our Discord is right here. It's completely free. You can join our Discord. It's completely free. It doesn't cost anything. And you can hang out, reach out to us, see some cool posts from our members there. Yeah, check it out, guys. We appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm assuming this is the, yeah, so the short semiconductor ETF. I see, who mentioned this? Yair. Yeah, up to 41. So microchip fears are here right now. You can see SOXS is going up. Although it's still been pretty flat here. It did rise pretty high here, but looking at a long-term trend here, this thing's been going down. So maybe this thing starts to rebound. This is a, this goes inverse to semiconductors. So semiconductors go up, this thing goes down. Semiconductors go down as they're doing now, and this goes up. So this is an inverse semiconductor ETF is what this is. It's up today though. So semiconductors are down this morning. It's up today. Let's see if it holds. I'm seeing Nike. Nike, you know, it's going to get hit with tariffs. You know, it's going to be negatively impacted by tariffs. The shoe market has just lost a lot of hype over the past 5 years as well. And so I think there's obviously some risks in the shoe market, but I am in Nike right now. And I think long term, it depends on how long you're willing to hold these things, right? If you're willing to hold it long term, I think Nike's going to be fine. I'm trying to think of what new generations end up wearing for shoes outside of Nike, and I don't think it's much, you know, unless they're wearing like Crocs or like Hey Dudes, which are different type of shoes. I don't really think they're buying anything outside of Jordans, you know, or Nikes right now. Now that trend could always change, but Nikes have been big for years. I'm a little bit more trusting of them. And so we'll see. Yeah, MU again, guys, down after disappointing guidance again for MU. MU is down to 430s right now after their earnings yesterday. So MU is down pretty significantly. We'll get a timer up here. I got you guys. Hold on. Scott, I got you. We'll get a timer up. I love Hey Dudes. Honestly, before I got injured, I wore Hey Dudes basically everywhere. You know, once I got hurt, you know, I tore the spring ligament in my foot and I tore my MCL. And once I hurt my spring ligament in my foot, I had to wear shoes inside for freaking a month. I hated it. And so I couldn't wear Hey Dudes. I had to wear like soles, like arch supporting shoes. And so I had to wear like tennis shoes inside for a month plus. Freaking hated it. It was better than the boot though. It was better than the boot. I hated the boot more. But since then I haven't worn Hey Dudes once because, you know, even though I'm healed now, like I'm fine. But yeah. Chevron. I'm seeing somebody mention Chevron here. Yeah, Chevron's been pushing up with the price of oil here. I'll go oil's up, Chevron is up here. Chevron's a little bit higher today. I like Air Maxes too. I wore a lot of Air Maxes. JP Morgan's strategy team has cut its year-end target for the S&P 500 from 7,500 to 7,200 on what they call the geopolitical overhang. So the geopolitical overhang is what JP Morgan Strategies team has cut its year-end forecast for the S&P 500 from $7,500 to $7,200 on basically Middle East tensions. Middle East tensions. So yeah. Yeah, this isn't micro strategy. This is like their actual strategy. Not strategy the stock. Strategy the strategy. I'm seeing somebody say ONDS. Tech platforms, government operations, so the conflict may be helping them. Robotic defense future, maybe. But the defense name, although it is dipping down a little bit here. We'll see if it holds. It seems the better your company does on earnings, the worse. Yeah, maybe. Hey. All right, guys. Hey, we got how long we have? We have 35 minutes until jobless claims unemployment goes live. We have 800 people here. Oil is down on the day, guys. So oil is down on the day. Although it did get elevated overnight and go green to 99.70s right in the middle of the night. Just to recap why this happened here. This happened because the Ras-Laffan attacks, Iran retaliated with attacking Qatar Energy's Ras-Laffan industrial city. It was hit by missiles. They intercepted 4 out of the 5, but the 5th did hit them. And it caused fires and significant damage. Abu Dhabi suspended operations as its Habshan gas facility and Bob oil and gas field after debris from missile interceptions hit. Brent crude again went up. It's now Brent crude's what it. I looked at Brent earlier. Where is Brent at now? I think it's at like 115s. And so U.S. final January building permits did fall 4.742%. They came in for January at 1.386 million versus prelim at 1.376 million. Still down, but better than expected. Also, Tesla apparently is facing... Tesla's down on the day as well. Tesla is facing expanded probe over their full self-driving system in poor weather, according to the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, oil's up today, I think. I know Brent is up for sure. Here's Brent. You know, here's Brent. And you can kind of see... Yeah, here's Brent crude. It's up to over $115 right now. You can see on the day, oil's elevated as well. Oil opened the day at about 111 for Brent crude. It's up to 115 for Brent. So Brent is still rising. WTI crude is not so much, but Brent is. There's no cut coming. Yeah, there might not be any cuts coming. There's probably not going to be rate hikes coming as well. But you see, Brent crude, this is the big story of the day after those attacks. Again, Qatar Energy's Ras Laffan Industrial City hit. Brent went up to over $118 a barrel. Over 118 a barrel. And so people are worried. There's been some predictions regarding the price of oil hitting 150, 200. As oil continues to spike, it almost hits 120 this morning. Those fears are a little bit more valid, I think, right now. But again, there's basically no de-escalation in sight is the story. The European Union rejected Trump's call for naval help securing the Strait of Hormuz. They said nobody is ready to put their people in harm's way. So Trump is having a hard time finding allies to help support him in securing the strait. We do have the ECB decision in about a minute and a half, guys. So we do have the ECB decision about a minute and a half. Again, in about a minute and a half. See what happens here. But again, the ECB is expected to pause rates. We do have Hegseth speaking right now, and they're holding a briefing, another briefing in the Pentagon. But Bitcoin under 70,000 again. Again, the ECB rate decision should be dropping in about a minute here. We also have Morgan Stanley saying they see a Fed rate cut in September now. Previously, they thought we would get one in June. They are now saying it's going to be potentially September. And so, yeah, we will see. But let's see what the ECB has to do with regarding their rates right now. Again, ECB rate decision is in less than a minute now. Less than a minute. I see somebody say it's silver. I'm looking to enter around 64 to 60. 70 silver is likely to get flushed. Look at UVIX. All right, guys, here we go. ECB rate decision in about 30 seconds. About 30 seconds. Yeah, I know. You can only see my face. I don't know if this is going to really impact markets here. I'll put up like the Dow or something, but Dow is kind of flat, slightly green on the day. I'm definitely biased here. All right, guys. So ECB decision is coming out right now in about 10 seconds here. All right, here we go. ECB decision coming soon. Again, they're expected to keep rates the same. And here's the report right here. So the ECB did pause rates as expected. So the ECB did pause rates as expected. 3.75 versus expected 3.75 here. I'll put this up on the breaking news screen, but ECB did keep rates the same. In terms of votes, unchanged 9 versus an expected 7 votes unchanged. So 9 voted for this decision to keep it there. 3.75% from the Bank of England. Again, vote hikes were at 0% versus expected 0%. So nobody voted for rate hikes. Nobody voted for cuts either. 0% voted for cuts. They expected about 2% of votes for cuts. Again, 9-0 vote. Previous 5-4 to hold rates by the Bank of England. But yeah, the Bank of England pauses rates as expected here. And nobody voted for hikes, just like yesterday's Fed meeting. Very similar to yesterday's Fed meeting. Oh, wait, we did have one dissenter. I'm sorry. Yesterday it was 9 or 11 to 1 with Mirren. But yeah, no votes for hikes, no votes for cuts. Left rates unchanged. And we have 30 minutes left until jobless claims here, chat. 30 minutes left. Bank of England says they increases the longer energy. There's risk increases the longer energy prices stay elevated. They see inflation at over 3% in February, near 3.5% in March. They say all members stand ready to act to contain inflation. They see modest inflation decline in the second quarter, though, and they say the alert is to second round effects from energy shocks. So that is what we're seeing right now. Yeah, look at the Dow falling here, S&P falling here, NASDAQ. Here's the S&P 500 is dipping down. It's at 6650s right now, 6650s. Here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is falling down here as well. NASDAQ is at 24.5s. Bear market has started. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The FOMC definitely mattered. It projected higher GDP and higher inflation. But yeah, ECB pauses rates as expected. Yeah, the Bank of England staff says they estimate quarter 2 CPI around 3%, quarter 3 CPI up to 3.5% due to global energy shocks. Bank of England's Bailey says whatever happens, our job is to make sure inflation gets back to the 2% target. They said higher global energy prices are already feeding into petrol prices, which will increase household energy bills later in the year if they last. And look at the NASDAQ just cracked lows of the day here. I'm looking at the Dow. The Dow's getting really close to these lows at 46,323s, but everything's kind of flushing down after kind of a fearful statement by the Bank of England here. We also have Hegseth, I believe, that's about to speak. But yeah, Bank of England says, unlike in 2022, latest energy shock is occurring while growth is below potential and the economy has spare capacity. Policy should be less restrictive if shock is very short-lived or if large increase in slack reduces medium-term price pressures. Again, silver crack lows under $70 an ounce for silver. Gold continuing to fall down at $46.30 an ounce. $46.30 an ounce for gold. It's looking kind of scary here. $46.30 for gold. Silver's flushing. Gold is flushing. Yeah, so again, traders are boosting Bank of England rate cuts, fully priced 50 basis point hikes in 2026. MPC is also, according to the Bank of England, the MPC is also assessing inflation implications from likely economic weakening due to energy prices. Is the music too loud, guys? Let me know. Put yes or no in chat. A little loud on my end, to be honest here. Hold on. Yeah, what's up, Frost? Alright, guys, so yeah, NASDAQ. Yes? It's too loud? It is too loud? Okay, yeah, we'll turn it down. It's a trance. Yeah. Again, look at the NASDAQ here, guys. NASDAQ under 24,500s as we speak here today. So look at the NASDAQ down under 24.5s as we speak here today. Building permits did drop, and we do have jobless claims unemployment going live. I'm trying to get, I had AI build me a pretty cool timer here. Let me see if I can find it. Here's oil, guys. Oil is honestly up, and the NASDAQ, S&P are down here. Look at the oil spikes. It says it spiked up to over 15s. Is this accurate? Over 115s? Let me refresh this for oil on CNBC. No, okay, so oil is basically flat from this. Brent crude sitting at 113.60s a barrel, but the NASDAQ's down. The Dow is pushing towards lows. Just bounced off of this low level we talked about earlier. Look at 46,320 on the Dow. 46,320. Yeah, so bearish reaction to, bearish reaction here. All right. It's going to dump again. And I'm going to ask you guys this again here. We're still getting kind of an update, but Apparently, Hegseth and General Kane are going to hold a press conference at the Pentagon again. Treasury Secretary Besson is also speaking in an interview saying that U.S. is not attacking Iran's energy infrastructure. We have allowed Iran to continue out of the Gulf. So again, markets are seeing a hawkish response as the Bank of England tilts more hawkish amid the energy shock from the Iranian war. But Treasury Secretary Besson says they are not attacking. Says the U.S. is not attacking Iran's energy infrastructure. Basically, they're only attacking military targets, and that they're not attacking the oil targets, and that they're allowing Iran to continue out of the Gulf. Dow is starting to pop back higher here. We can take a look at the NQ. Here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ up to 24.5s again. Dipped below 24.5s for a split second ahead of this report. Yeah, so Hegseth is speaking right now. Should continue to get his quotes, but Besson is speaking. He said there were about 130 million Iran barrels of oil on water. He said we're not attacking their infrastructure. There's plenty more the U.S. can do on oil supply. And last night was the biggest night for strikes on Iran, he says. All right, guys. So, for escalation. Let me get this timer up here. Yeah, how about this timer? This timer is actually pretty cool. Let me get this comment out the way. And yeah, now the music's good. All right, cool. Check this timer out, guys. This timer is actually pretty good, and it gives me the exact time. The exact time on my stream. So, I honestly like this timer a lot. Look at this timer in the bottom left now. Not too shabby here. All right, so look at the NASDAQ reject this 200 exponential target here. 24.560s. 24.560s on the NASDAQ. Jobless claims, unemployment data coming out in about 20 minutes. 20 minutes. All right, so Hegseth is speaking right now. Hegseth, the U.S. isn't spinning towards a quagmire in Iran. So again, U.S. Secretary of War Hegseth says the U.S. isn't spinning towards a quagmire in Iran. Nvidia pushing down around lows, hit 178 here after a hawkish Bank of England stressing oil fears and premiums and inflation. Quagmire, you know. I mean, quagmire, you know. Let me know if it's a quagmire. I would say it's one of the top 3 quagmires out there right now. I'm assuming quagmire, I genuinely don't know what quagmire means. I'm assuming it means like a fumble, like a disastrous result is what it sounds like it means. I genuinely don't know. Let me look. Define quagmire for me here. How do you spell quagmire? Gotta go back to the quote. Again, Secretary of War Hegseth, he just said something else. He said on Iran that the objectives on Iran are on target and on plan. Iranian objections have not changed from the start. Awkward, complex, or hazardous situation. Yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like, just using context. Yeah, so. But again, Hegseth is speaking right now. 2 things he said. He said U.S. objectives on Iran are on target and on plan. Iranian objectives have not changed from the start. He also said that that was Besson. So, he also said the U.S. isn't spinning towards a quagmire in Iran right now. Besson's also speaking simultaneously. He said not going to do financial market oil intervention, according to Scott Besson. Again, that we're not going to be doing financial market oil intervention. And speaking of oil's kind of back and forth here. We had some earlier spikes because of the strikes and more oil fields in the Middle East. All right, guys, here we go. We got 20 minutes left. Got 1,000 people here. Australia hiked rates today, which is second rate hike in a row now. Gold and silver still dumping. So Ryanair CEO expects Boeing to get permission by September to increase 747 MAX production to 47 planes a month. Yeah, I would say one of the biggest stories in futures right now, number one, is gold. Look at gold, chat, tumbling down this morning. Gold is dumping down here. Dumping down. Under 46.50s an ounce for gold. And this is when gold, not that long ago, was at 5,400s an ounce. It's at 4,600s an ounce. What is that, like 15 to 20%, 15 to 17%? Just off the top of my head. But gold down substantially since the beginning of this month in only a couple weeks. Gold has dropped again from 40 or 54.30s all the way down to basically 4,600. Oh, dude. Yeah, so 54.30s down to 4,600. That is a 15.5% drop. So definitely not good. Definitely not good. For gold. Silver also. Isn't silver under 70 an ounce now? Here's silver. Yeah, silver just dropped under $70 an ounce. Just now. Bassett speaking. Hegseth says Iran's 11 submarines are gone. Hegseth also said senior leader for the IRGC is a temporary job. That Iran's ability to make new missiles has probably been hit the hardest. And he said, Hegseth said again, today will be the largest strike package on Iran. Secretary of War, Hegseth. So the Secretary of War, Hegseth, said today will be the largest strike package on Iran. He said this last time as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Bassett said, I would expect Japan would be interested in securing oil supplies from the Gulf. The president has an excellent relationship with Japanese leader via an FBN interview. So maybe Trump is going to be able to get Japan involved with this. Gold's in a quagmire. Yeah, well, the Greenland ordeal is just kind of taking a backseat to all the stuff going on here. So Greenland taking a backseat to everything going on. I love you. Have a good day. All right, chat. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Yeah, jobless claims unemployment filings go live today. What's up, dude? Love you, bro. Have a good day, man. Yeah, again, the president's had a hard time finding allies that want to help support him in the conflict that we're in right now. European Union basically said no. They said we're not getting our people involved in that. And so... yeah, the European Central Bank is set to release their rate decision at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time today. So they're expected to maintain the deposit rate at 2%. But with the recent energy shocks, the good place assessment is unlikely to hold. It's too soon to fully assess inflation and growth impacts, though. So we'll see what the ECB says in their statement today. We will cover that. It's at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time today by the European Central Bank rate announcement. We had, look at silver continue to fall down at $69 a barrel. NASDAQ back to red on the day. And see if it continues to break down. The Dow has had maybe the toughest time out of all the indices. The Dow Jones, man. Look at it yesterday. Dow Jones yesterday tumbled all the way down from mid 47s under mid 46s now. 46,300s as we speak. So now getting hit harder than most things. It's technically red on the day, although it's mostly flat this morning. It's been kind of chopping sideways and trying to hold. But yeah, mostly flat. Mostly flat. Will we get higher or lower claims today? Will we get higher or lower claims? Also, guys, where are you guys from? Let me know. Where are you guys from? Let me know where you're watching from in the chat. I am in Houston, Texas. So cheers to you guys. I'm in Houston, Texas today. I'm from Louisiana, in Houston, Texas. Let me know where you're watching from. I always like seeing it. Atlanta, Brazil, Indiana, Philippines, Manchester, Knoxville, Cali, Budapest, North Carolina, Colorado, South Carolina, Ireland. Watching from YouTube. Hey, my guy. Toronto, Israel, Poland, Texas, Belgium, Swiss, Romania, Chicago, Detroit, Florida, Memphis, Atlanta, Poland, Albuquerque, London. I still want to go to London. My last name is literally London. London is my last name. So, cheers to my people across the pond. You know, like I said, hopefully you guys are like, you know, really, I'm a Louisianian at heart. Never been to London. Would like to go. But anyways, let's get back to the news. Recently, the Dow has broken back under the previous closing price. It is now technically red on the day. Hey, New York, Philly. We are at 46.3s now in the Dow. You can take a look at the NASDAQ. We have jobless claims unemployment in about 11 minutes. Make sure you guys hit the live button next to the play button and you put it in 2x speed, guys. Make sure you catch up to the stream. Yeah, Daytona, Portugal. Hey, what's up? Dubai. Yeah, again, the big story of the day, gold, guys. 4600s for gold. Does gold rebound today as we get closer to the opening bell? What do you guys think? Does gold rebound? It's down so substantially right now. Yeah, it's down a lot. Do I know Ottawa, Canada's capital? Ottawa? Never been. I've been to Ontario. I lived in Ontario for a while. Cheers to Ontario. Poutine. Tastes great. Shout out to my Canadians. Anyways, though, guys, 46.20s for gold right now. 46.20s. You still like Netflix at these levels? Netflix, I think, is a long-term hold. But I think everything's down. So I think everything's kind of down. Netflix, for me personally, I'm not an investment professional. This is not financial advice. We are not liable if you lose money. You know, blah, 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 right? But I like Netflix long-term. We'll see what happens with Netflix, though. It's definitely not guaranteed. I think trends can change. Competition can change. I still like Amazon a lot long-term. All right, guys, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. You're better off buying Amazon than Netflix. Yeah, I like Amazon a lot. Amazon, I think, like when you invest in companies, you have to think about a couple different things. Obviously, you have to think about valuations. You got to look at PE ratios. You got to look at, you know, a lot of different things, really. But one of the things that I always do when I invest is I say, how likely is this company to become obsolete with technology evolution? Like, how likely is technology going to render this thing obsolete? And I think with Amazon, it's super low odds, personally. You know, you can let me know what you guys think in chat, but I think with Amazon, the odds of it going obsolete with technology, I can't really imagine a scenario. I'm not saying there is one. You could have competition, sure, from another company, but I think Amazon has built the infrastructure at this point in time in which, you know, it's going to be really hard. Now, one of the things that you could see is you could see margins get a little bit worse if we continue to see, you know, trade issues with China, because a lot of the stuff that people order on Amazon is wholesaled from China. Like, they use Alibaba, they wholesale it, they buy it in bulk from China, and then they list it on Amazon and they profit the difference, right? That's a lot of what Amazon is. And so we could see prices rising, but I think in that situation, we're probably going to see prices rise everywhere because a lot of manufacturing is done in China, regardless of whether it's on Amazon or not. And so, again, because of that, I like Amazon personally. I don't know what it's going to do, though. Don't know what it's going to do. Netflix getting into live sports, I think, makes tons of sense. They're making some big signings. They have Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. They have Francis Ngannou on there as well, right? And I was kind of disappointed by the UFC's White House card. Anyways, Treasury Secretary Bessent says oil prices in time will be lower than before February, the end of February, basically. So again, Bessent just said oil prices in time will be lower than before February. He said, we'll see if Carg Island eventually becomes a U.S. asset. And he says, we know where Iran's leaders' bank accounts are. He says that when we unsanction Iran, oil can go to ex-China places. So we also had General Kane say each day we move deeper into Iranian territory. And Treasury Secretary Bessent said Trump postponed the trip to China to stay in the U.S. during the Iran war, but that Iran ballistic missile are down 90%. All right, chat. 350 million subscribers. That's me next year. That's me next year. We hit 170,000 subscribers, so I appreciate you guys. Cheers to you guys. Thanks so much. Jobless claims, chat. Jobless claims in 7 minutes or so. 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes, yeah. Gold is down massively on the day, though. Again, one of the big moving assets this morning is gold. Look at gold push towards $4,600 an ounce. Gold is dumping down here. Dumping down. So again, gold is dumping down. Over 5% down on the day. Silver falling over 10%. You know, rate cuts are essentially getting priced out of this market due to rising inflation and energy costs. And gold and silver are not reacting well to this. Treasury Secretary Bessent also said, I believe U.S. growth can be above 3% for 2026. Will we get 3% growth in 2026? The last quarter 4 GDP we got was 0.7%. Now, the question is quarter 1 going to be better than quarter 4? I don't think so. Maybe. Is there any logical reason for gold to be dumping that bad? It's just less rate cuts this year. Rate cuts getting priced out of markets. This happened yesterday during the Fed meeting with hawkish Powell. This is happening by the European Central Bank, the Bank of England. And then we also have, maybe getting some front loading into the ECB decision going live at 9:15 this morning. So we got the European Central Bank this morning at 9:15. We had the Bank of England earlier today, and then we had the U.S. rate decision with the FOMC yesterday. All of it is basically hawkish or data dependent, but a lot of people are going to call it hawkish. We're getting less rate cut outlook due to inflation fears in the Iran conflict. And that is bad for gold and silver. Gold and silver falling down here, 4600s. So General Kane says we'll continue major combat operations in Iran. Bessent also said that the Warsh meeting on Hill going very well, and that there will be a Warsh confirmation. Treasury Secretary Bessent said he will not comment on ongoing Powell investigation. And he said we will get results of tariff investigations in July. Expectations our tariff regime would be under new authority and unchanged. Gold at $4,600 an ounce here, chat. $4,600 an ounce. Dow also breaking lows of the day. The Dow is now down to 46.3s on the Dow. The NASDAQ getting really close to lows on the day. The S&P just cracked lows as well a minute or so ago at 66.43. So we got a couple minutes left until jobless claims unemployment is live. Couple minutes left. Scary market right now. Scary market. I'm going to put it in sub-only mode, so anybody that hasn't already, subscribe if you haven't already. Remember, yes, tomorrow is triple witching day. But jobless claims in less than 4 minutes now, guys. Less than 4 minutes. Jobless claims expected at 215. We also have Philly Fed Manufacturing Index for March. 8.3% is what's expected. Last time it was 16.3. So we did see big strength in manufacturing last time. We also kind of saw that reflected in the ISM data, I think. But jobless claims expected at 215 today. Last time they were 213. So they are expecting jobless claims to uptick a little bit. And we will see if this fear continues. with more ECB or more central bank decisions going later on this morning at 9:15. We have the ECB decision. All right, 3 minutes, chat. 3 minutes. Yeah, look at the S&P, just broke lows at 66.35s right now with the S&P. So the S&P is cracking lows again. Yeah, Britain's FTSE index falls to 10-week lows. It's down 2.6%. Bassett also said would be out of the historic norm if Powell stays on as governor, but it's his decision to stay on as Fed governor, according to the interview. Yeah, NASDAQ, S&P, gold, silver, all down. Gold's testing 4,600s. Here's silver. Silver's under $69 an ounce with about 2 minutes left before jobless claims come out. Gold is crashing down because the market is pricing in less rate cuts this year. Less easing and stimulation. It's the reason Bitcoin is down also. You know, look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been falling down as well. You know, gold, silver falling down. Just less easing. Stronger dollar. Dollar's over 100 for the dollar index. All right, here we go, guys. We got about a minute and 30 seconds left. Minute and 40 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. You can see the timer on the screen here. We're going to watch yields. We got about a minute and a half left. Make sure you hit the live next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed here. Catch up to the stream. We appreciate it. And here we go. About a minute left. See what we get today. Jobless claims unemployment. Expected at 215. Last time they were 213. They're expected to uptick 2,000. More claims for unemployment. Week to week, we have about 50 seconds left. Is it time to buy gold? Chat, let me know. We have seen a little bit more stabilization in Brent crude. Here's Brent at almost 114, still up a ton on the day for Brent crude oil. But we'll see how this moves at about 30 seconds left. Here we go. All right, guys, 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 1 minute. Or no, I'm sorry, like 15 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. We'll see what jobless claims unemployment shows up as. Here, guys, jobless claims unemployment. And 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's the report. See what it shows up as. Waiting for the report. Jobless claims showed up at 205,000, lower than expected. For jobless claims, 205,000 versus 215,000 expected here. So a little bit stronger jobs than expected. Here's the NASDAQ, but 205,000 versus 215 expected. The Philly Fed Manufacturing Index also showed up at 18.1 versus 8.3%, or versus 8.3 expected. 18 showed up for the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. So stronger manufacturing, stronger jobs. Continuing claims did go up a little bit for jobless claims, though. So continuing claims did show up, but jobless claims showed up at 205. And look at the NASDAQ fall. So what this means is even less argument for cuts with stronger manufacturing and stronger jobs. 205 versus 215 expected here. The previous one wasn't revised at all. But again, we showed up at 205 here today, guys. 205 for jobless claims, unemployment filings. So 205 today for jobless claims. Philly Fed Index, again, showed up at 18.1 versus expected 8, basically expected. So I'll put this up on screen right now, but jobless claims, stronger for jobs than expected here. Stronger for jobs than expected. 205. Lower claims. It's less people filing for unemployment. The NASDAQ did react to this. We did have a negative reaction to this news. And yeah. What this means, guys, is stronger jobs means less argument for rate cuts. Stronger manufacturing, same thing. 18.1 versus expected 8 previous of 16.3. So it's stronger than previous and stronger than last time. I'll put this up on screen as well so you guys can see it. Let's look at look. There we go. Let's look at yields this morning on this. I don't know if I've looked at yields today with you guys, but yields are hyper elevated after the Fed meeting. Look at yields, and they're not, and this jobless claims report is not really helping it, but look at yields this morning, chat. So this is 10-year treasury yields. Look at how much they're up on the day. They're at 4.32%. So look at yields spike since yesterday's Fed meeting, but they recently spiked again on more hawkish sentiment. Yields and interest rates follow each other, so you can basically look at yields like interest rate sentiment, like where markets think interest rates are going. Higher yields means markets are pricing in higher interest rate potential this year. This is after the Bank of England also said similar things, but that is what's going on here. So, yeah, we got the ECB rate decision going live. As well today. So we do have the ECB rate decision. We have pending home sales and more. ECB rate decision is going to be at 9:15 market time though. Yeah, so will we get more hawkish fears? Yeah, so look at this. So yeah, you can see yields. Actually, I think yields are falling down a little bit on this report, maybe. So, but they're down from where they were. Y'all see gold? Yeah, gold is struggling this morning here, guys. So we can take a look at gold. The NASDAQ has rebounded, though, and sometimes the first move is the wrong move. But yeah, now we have the ECB rate decision going live 8:30 or 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. Are you guys ready to buy anything today? Gold is down to $4,600 an ounce. Let me know any assets you guys want to buy. You can list stocks. I'll take a look at them. You can list crypto. I'll take a look at them. You can list futures, assets, commodities. But look at gold sitting right at $4,600 an ounce here. I do think 4,600 is a psychological level. I think silver's getting hammered even worse, though. Look at silver, down to $68 an ounce for silver. It's time to buy MU. I see somebody mentioning MU. MU is down on worse guidance here, but it is low. Such a strong chart, though, over the last 6 months to a year. We're finally getting a dip here. Maybe it's time to buy MU. Maybe it keeps falling down. This one I'm a little bit unsure about regarding MU, because, I mean, look, here's the last 12 months. This thing's gone from $60 to $460. That's a crazy percentage gain. A crazy percentage gain. That's my only worry about buying MU. Like, look, if we put up this is a daily chart. I'm not saying it's not going to continue higher here. And I know the cool thing to do in stocks is just to pump up tech. But you're telling me to buy here, brother? Right here? I don't know. I'm kind of a bottom-feeding dip buyer when it comes to long-term investments. Like, I want to buy it cheap. And I don't know if this is necessarily cheap up here. It's not. Just to be fair, just to clarify, MU is actually about right here. To be fair. But man, crazy moves over the last 12 months. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, MU is good. I think Adobe's oversold. What are their margins here? Yeah, here's a weekly chart for Adobe. You know, AI is just eating their business. That's the fear for Adobe and software. AI is just eating their business. Whether that dynamic continues, I'm not sure. But that's the big risk here. Hey, nice, Simply. Congrats, dude. Yeah, again, if you want to check out some funded account programs, I'll do a shameless plug here. This is my first plug of the day. I don't even claim to be a good trader. I just kind of teach people stuff for free, give people free data, cover market actions and news. I appreciate all the love today, though, guys. I really do. But if you want to check out Apex, a great way to help support the channel. There's no PDT rule in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, commodities. Apex has recently changed their rules. There's an end of day drawdown option, no payout denials, no MAE rule, no 5-1 risk reward, no built-in scaling, and only 50% consistency once you're funded here. And so you can check out their new products. Went to the wrong page. You can check out their new products down here. But they have the cheapest accounts in the game, and the sale ends, I believe, in 15 hours. This sale ends, guys. So again, if you get the intraday trail, it's only $17.70 per account if you use my coupon code BT, beginner trading BT on Apex. If you get the end of day trail, it's about $26 if you use my coupon code BT. They have Trade Evade, they have wealth charts, they have Rhythmic, so you can use like Quant Tower and more. 25,000 account, 50,000 account, the 50K account with the end of day trail is only $30 right now, dude. $30. 100K accounts 44, 150K accounts only 60. So, cheapest accounts in the game, really, by far. If you want to check them out, I will put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. Again, no PDT in futures. Most day traders lose money. And so if you fund your own account, you're probably going to lose it. This makes more sense. I think learning to trade like this makes sense. Most day traders are still going to lose, regardless of where they go. It's a lot cheaper to lose here than it is to fund your own account 5K and lose that most of the time. There's the link. Check it out. Anyways, guys, let's continue to look at Adobe. The problem with Adobe is that AI is kind of eating their lunch here. Again, if you want to check out Apex, there's the link in chat. I'll pin it to the top of the page. You can help support the channel here. There's the link. I appreciate the love. But yeah, a big story. Non-manufacturing activity. 18.1 versus expected 8. So manufacturing activity, 18.1 versus expected 8. Yeah, Adobe's just getting their business eaten by AI here. If we look at the PE ratio of Adobe, it's actually pretty low right now. It's 15th. So here's macro trends. You can see like their PE ratio graph here, just to look at it. They're earning more per share, and their PE ratio has fallen down since beginning of last year. Is at almost 30. It's now down to 14.3s. So there might be some value arguments for Adobe where right here. I mean, I still think it's risky, but big risk, big reward potentially. Not an investment professional though. Not an investment professional. Just be careful. So it's more the fear that AI than the reality of it affecting the stock. I think Adobe will rebound nicely. Yeah, y'all can continue to list assets. I'll keep looking at them. Stocks, crypto, futures. Yeah, again, Apex is an affiliate of mine. Of course, I'm biased. I get paid by them. I understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I am not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose. Make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything here, guys. Do not copy me. Not an investment professional. Okay, so jobless claims are out. Let's create a timer for the ECB rate decision. MU is my #1 trade today. What are you buying the MU dip here? A lot of people talking about MU, bad earnings, reaction, lower guidance. I know Adobe's using AI for its systems now. I know it is. But the question is that still going to make people use them? I don't know. Again, you can tell AI to create thumbnails now. So Photoshop is losing a lot of stuff because you can just have AI do it without even going into Adobe Suite. You know, we'll see. But yeah. It wasn't lower guidance. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't that it was lower. If I said lower, my bad. I misspoke. It's more that MU's numbers just were not good enough for the market to react well. Yeah, MU ended up posting good growth actually. Their second quarter gross margin nearly doubled due to higher pricing. CapEx is going to increase by more than $10 billion in 2027, according to the CEO. But see, way better guidance. But for whatever reason, markets are not pricing this in. It could be, a lot of different things, but it just wasn't good enough in guidance. Even though they did show up for quarter 3 GAAP EPS guidance at almost 19 versus 12 expected, basically. They see sales at 32 to 34. 30% dividend increase, but again, markets are just strict right now with AI. A lot of times companies kill it with earnings and they're just not quite good enough for markets. SoFi? Yeah, we can look at SoFi here. SoFi's just been getting hammered though. Social finance. It's dropped almost 50% since November. SoFi down almost 50%. I think everyone's selling now is betting that they hit peak margins. Yeah, gold still pretty freaking weak here, man. Gold is now under $4,600 an ounce. Just cracked 4,600 as we speak here. So the gold, look at gold fall right now. This is gold right now, chat. Gold is tumbling. Yeah, so MU is down. Concerns over peak from CapEx outweighs earnings. Yeah, so gross margins worries for MU. Baba is down 5%. Profit and revenue missed in guidance. So Alibaba is down. Look at gold, guys. Gold under $4,600 an ounce as I speak here. Still down. Still falling. And we'll see what the ECB statement looks like here. If they say more hawkish words, gold might keep tumbling. I think gold's getting priced into a potential ECB reaction here. So I think gold, look at it. Gold is still falling down here. I think gold's falling down again on worse ECB margins. Or worse ECB rate outlook. Less cuts. It's what the Bank of England did earlier today. It's what the FOMC, although the FOMC kept their summary of economic projections basically the same. They raised their inflation forecast for this year, this year and more. They raised their GDP forecast, which also contributes to less rate cut potential if GDP's up. And yeah, the Bank of England basically did a very similar thing where they paused interest rates. Most people agreed on the interest rate pause by the Bank of England, and also said really hawkish comments regarding the situation in the Middle East, the prices of oil, and the inflation outlook. So we'll see if we get a continuation of that type of sentiment with the ECB decision going live. Again, 30 minutes for that. 30 minutes. Yeah, there's a few feds looking at hikes right now. That's for sure. Wouldn't you agree that being neutral is also a political statement in some instances? I mean, we're really getting deep into nuance there, to be honest. It depends. Being neutral could be seen as a political stance. But I think... Who are you talking about? Are you talking about me? Are you talking about the banks? Are you talking about... Who are you talking about being neutral? Like, I don't think the central banks being neutral right now constitutes a political thing. I think it makes sense for them to be neutral right now. Again, I said this yesterday. If you would have asked me what I would do prior to the Iran conflict, I'd probably argue maybe small 25 basis point rate cuts. Because I don't think those contribute to high inflation as much as people think. But I think when you consider the aspects of the Iran conflict, it just becomes too risky now. And so I think neutral stance is accurate. I think there's inflation risks now that we didn't see over 3 weeks ago. in February. There is inflation worries, pretty universally now with the price of oil surging so much. Brent crude up to hit $118 a barrel recently. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Bitcoin now falling under 70,000 here. It's at 69.63s. Look at Bitcoin here. Also falling down. Gold falling down. Again, MU is down from general margins from CAPEX, even though they beat earnings, raised guidance. Alibaba is down 5% from profit and revenue miss in their earnings. ALGN is up 6.1% today. We had Elliott Investment Management take a big stake. And then we had Rivian up 9%. They partnered with Uber on robotaxis. Uber is going to invest $1.25 billion into Rivian. So those are the stock stories in the day, but man, look at gold, still tumble 45 fours for gold. I was just saying generally a neutral stance. I mean, number one, I mean, I'm on YouTube here, brother. Like, I'm not going to be super political. That's just not how I am. Same thing with like religion. I'm just not going to be super, pushy of any of that stuff. Regarding this current situation with politics, I really am kind of a moderate and neutral in that regard. I'm not really super weighted to one side. I don't like any politicians, to be honest. I don't trust any of them. Doesn't matter the side. I don't trust any of them. And I think that's a pretty reasonable take. I don't know if that's political. Maybe you could say it is, but I don't trust any politicians. All right, guys, we got 45 threes now. So let's watch 4,500 on the price of gold here. Here's 4,500. So long term. Somebody said, "Hey, John, would you look at buying gold here? Long term, sure. It depends on how long term you're talking, though. Gold, the problem with it is that it can downtrend for a long time and it can uptrend for a long time. And so the safest way to buy gold is to buy it and sit on it decades. That's the safest time to buy gold. And so sure, if I'm holding for decades, I don't hate gold here at all. What do you think about oil right now in the day? I think oil is stabilizing a little bit from its much earlier spikes that we saw. Remember, guys, again, we'll kind of summarize this, but we had more strikes overnight. Hegseth also recently said Iran knows when you hit Cargill Island, we can hold anything at issue. He says Iran has the ability to make the right choices. It should not target Arab allies. Michael Saylor just posted saying Bitcoin is the ultimate hedge against chaos. Hegseth also said that the Pentagon is going to Congress for money for the Iran war. But Bank of America is also saying that an AI bubble is the biggest concern among accredited investors. And traders are no longer pricing in Fed interest rate cuts this year in 2026 here. Yeah, and I noticed this, honestly, yesterday. Yesterday, I did notice this trend. So yesterday, I did notice that if we look at the Fed Watch tool, so as of now, in April, as of now, according to the Fed Watch tool, markets are pricing in a 10% chance of a rate hike in April. So a 10% chance of a hike in April. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen here, but a 10% chance of a rate hike getting priced in for April. 90% chance of a pause. If you look at the June meeting, which is after Powell is going to be out, there is a 10% chance of a rate hike again by then. 86% chance of another pause. And a 3.5% chance of a 25 basis point cut in June. In July, There is a 10% chance of a rate hike still, 85% chance of another pause, 5.2% chance of a 25 basis point cut, and a 0.1% chance of a 50 basis point cut by them. September, still almost 10% chance of a hike, 83.5% chance of a pause, you know. And then October, still 82. Most likely we're going to pause. So it's looking like markets are pricing in roughly a 74% chance that we have no cuts this year, as of now. Roughly 74% chance we have no cuts this year, as of now, based off of the CME Fed Watch tool. So markets are pricing in no cuts this year. This is subject to change, though. You know, what we really need to see is the inflation numbers after last month. So for this month, the inflation numbers are going to be really interesting for this month. We'll see, but the inflation numbers for this month should be interesting. Should be. Also, we have the U.S. Transportation Secretary says if partial shutdown continues, he believes small airports will shut down in the CNBC interview. Also, the U.S. Interior Secretary Burgum says the U.S. and Japan are going to discuss deals today. Oil's kind of stabilizing here, but man, gold hit 45.30s. Is actually starting to bounce back a little bit. Let's look at the Dow here, though. Here's the Dow. And I'll put a timer up for the ECB decision today. So yeah, we'll put a timer up for the ECB decision today. There you go. Yeah, here's the thing though, guys. I posted my Discord and nobody joined here. What's stopping you guys from joining my Discord? All right, it hurts a little bit. I mean, we already have thousands of members, so maybe y'all are already joined. But join our Discord. It's completely free. There's the link. Join our Discord, guys. Do it now. Completely free. Doesn't cost anything. Let me know in chat right now why you have not joined our Discord. You know? I joined, but John is never in there. I'm kind of in there. I'm 41. I can't be seen on Discord. Honestly, yeah, no. I was at my daughter's softball game, and I got parents all around me. And Pawn sent me a message. I went to open up Discord, and I immediately was like, "Hey," I was kind of like hiding my phone. I don't want them to think I'm on Discord, which is generally like a video game chatting app. So I feel you, brother. I feel you, man. You know, I'm trying not to, you know. Yeah, I was kind of like, yeah, don't see me. Like, I already wear Vans a lot, like skateboard shoes. And so the last thing I want is them looking at me like this is a skateboarding video game 30-something-year-old. Yeah. Yeah, Discord. No, I'm just kind of joking. Anyways, Dow is down. We got the ECB rate decision very soon here, guys. Very soon. Yeah, that's basically how I felt there, Pew. All right, so again, the U.S. Interior Secretary says the U.S. and Japan are to discuss deals today. Yeah, next month's inflation reports, Kathy, could be ugly for sure. So like next month's inflation reports might not be good here. Let me get this UI better. Actually, I'm gonna put the timer for jobs higher here. I'm gonna put it at the top of the screen. I think right there is probably better. Yeah, the conflict started again. We went over this yesterday, but if you look at the price of oil and all the spikes that we've seen from it, we got a little small spikes in the price of oil prior to the conflict. Remember, the Friday before the strikes happened which was in February, I told people, hey, there's rumors and rumblings of strikes over the weekend, and then over the weekend we did. And that's when oil really spiked. But we're not going to see that included in inflation data until next month's report for this month in March. So that'll be the most interesting reports coming out, is going to be the March inflation data that we get in April. So the March inflation data. I know CPI is generally 2 weeks into the month. Around the 10th through the 15th is when we get CPI inflation in April. So that's going to be interesting. We get payrolls the first week of the month. I haven't joined because up until now I have never heard you mention it. You non-self-promoting, day trading, non-financial advice giving person just joined. Hey, thank you, brother. I try not to spam with too much promotion. I really do. Like, I don't promote anything for a few hours here. I try. Like, I try to tell people I'm not an expert. Like, I think you got too many people that are just pretending to be the greatest traders ever. And, you know, I'd rather just be honest with people. You know, I'm not saying I'm not the greatest ever. I mean, I could be, you know, but still, definitely top 3, I guess. Gold rebounding back up. Silver, not as much. Still looking at the Dow, though. Here's all you guys joining here. I see you guys joining. Okay. I'll even chat with you guys if y'all comment on the day trading Discord. ECB is the European Central Bank. Regarding the ECB, they have their rate decision today at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time in about 15 minutes. We're going to look at their statement. We had a hawkish statement by the Bank of England. We're now getting the European Central Bank decision at 9:15 market time, as well as their statement. We'll see if they mirror the other central banks. You're the greatest informer ever. I mean, I like it. I like it, man. I'm going to label myself that from now on. The greatest informer ever. John the Informer is what they'll call me for generations, I think. Yeah, definitely. I don't think there is a greatest trader. The ones that made the most rigged the market. Yeah, but that's kind of the point of having a lot of money in the first place. The point of having a bunch of money is that you can. Big money moves, you know? And the odds are more in your favor the more money you have. So I can't really knock the ones that do it. To a point. I mean, if you do it, if you're too greedy, obviously there's problems. But man, I hate Discord, but I feel bad not joining. You should feel bad. When will you change your name, John? You know, I thought about it. I thought about changing my name. The problem is that I feel like my regulars, like if I change my name, what should I change my name to? Number one, give me some options. Number two is I would worry that my regulars that I've had for years wouldn't recognize the channel. You know. All right, guys, we're still covering breaking news. Again, gold breaking down on the day. Oil elevated. News has been a little bit light, but yeah, stocks are down. Oil's down. Or oil's up. Gold, silver down drastically. Intermediate trader. Quagmire trading, huh? You know. Yeah, gold. I would say gold is probably the biggest story of the day. Gold and silver. Look at gold, man. It hasn't stopped dropping this morning. It's at 45.50s right now for gold, so it has not stopped dropping. Hey, thank you, Valar. Is that a Game of Thrones name? What does it mean? I can't remember. I remember the quote. It means something about dead. I can't remember what it is. It's something like that. All right, anyways, 45.40 here for gold. Still flushing down here. The lows of the day are 45.30s. We are testing these lows on gold right now. We're at 45.30s. Still breaking down drastically here. Gold is dumping down. Just cracked lows of the day. New lows of the day are 45.25 an ounce for gold futures. Gold still flushing. Hawkish sentiment. And again, we do have the European Central Bank decision going live at 8:15 or 9:15 market time. Look at this drop for gold here, though, guys. $4,500 an ounce right now. Big pullbacks here. Still testing towards 4,500. We got to watch 45s. I think 45 psychological level here makes sense. But we are getting very close. Hey, thank you. Still flushing down here. Look, $4,500 an ounce right now. OpenAI is going to acquire startup Astral, expanding the push into coding, apparently. Hey, what's up, Tiny? All right, guys, $4,500 an ounce here. Yeah, if you're in our Discord, you want to reach out to me, just put at, I'm the John top 3 best ever guy. Gold 4,000 by the end of the day. I hope not, man. 40,000 would be a huge turnaround on gold. A huge turnaround. So I hope not. Gold and silver both falling down on less rate cut sentiment this year. Gold and silver dumping down on less rate cut sentiment this year, unfortunately. So that's really what this is. Bank of England came out more hawkish. Fed yesterday was more hawkish. Raised inflation odds in the summary of economic projections. We had about the same rate cut odds this year, which is markets pricing in one cut specifically. But they did raise inflation odds. They did raise GDP odds yesterday during the FOMC meeting. The Bank of England paused rates. They referenced the conflict in the Middle East, inflation spiking aspects of it, and yeah, more hawkish sentiment by the Bank of England this morning. And now we are heading into the European Central Bank. We will see what they say, but gold and silver don't like it. They've been falling down, although gold did just bounce right there at 4,500s. Where does gold close of the day? Let me know in chat right now. Where does gold close of the day? I did a poll earlier. We got 1,100 votes. 55% say no rate hikes this year in 2026. You can continue to vote on that poll. I asked, will we get rate hikes in 2026? Will we get a rate hike at least in 2026? 55% say no. 45% say yes. And we'll see what the sentiment regarding the Bank of England is here today. But ask people where gold's going to close the day. 4,600s. Yeah, I'm looking at the S&P here. S&P at 66.25s. So S&P's at lows. Gold had a little recovery bounce at 4,500 though. So buyers did step in at 4,500 on gold. Look at 4,500. Yeah, gold was, I don't know if it was at 46. Yeah, gold was at 4,600. So gold from its peak this year, chat. Gold just from its peak has fallen. Sorry, the song just stopped me in my tracks. Yeah, gold from its peaks here, 56.26. It's fallen all the way down to $4,500. So gold from its peak is down 20% right now. It's down 1/5, 20% from its peak at 5,600s down to 4,500s. So 4,600 close on gold. You're basically expecting it to rebound a little bit. Gold will bottom at 3,000. I'm calling it. We will see. All right, guys, we have the ECB rate decision in about 7.5 minutes. Oh, or 8 minutes, I'm sorry. Let me know if you like the new setup, too. I've been trying to really build and make the production quality a little bit higher on the stream. Let me know anything you like, dislike. I'll listen to it. As long as you're respectful. But yeah, gold. Bounced right at 4,500. Still falling down for gold. I missed the mom's basement for you. Look. It's a nice... If this is my mom's basement, it's really nice, guys. Look at this. Silver and gold rug pulls today. November low coming in for gold. What's the November low? November low is 3,800s for November. Here's the S&P here. I think 6,000 is important for the S&P in terms of holding over it. But the S&P is cracking lows and still continuing to break down as we speak here. Yeah, I get paid for streams. All right, so I'm gonna put S&P up and then gold up on the. All right, look at gold, man. $4,500 an ounce. Yields have fallen back down, but they're still over 4.3% if you look at yields right now. Where do you think we peak out on Brent? Gas prices are going to be high if Brent hits $200 a barrel. NASDAQ, if we go down to 23,950s, we're in a bear market. I don't know if we're there yet, but I think you could probably argue it. All right, guys. We got the ECB rate decision in about 6 minutes here. We'll see what that looks like. More hawkish sentiment potentially coming. More hawkish sentiment coming in less than 5 minutes. Or in about 5 minutes. Who's in control right now? Bull or bears? Put bull or bears in the chat right now. I'm not going to end my poll because I'm genuinely curious about what this ends at. But the bears are in control. Look at everybody say bears. Bears. Bears, bro. The bears. Definitely with gold and the S&P. Look at gold push back down. Gold at 45.30s right now. 45.30s. Bears are smashing it. The market makers, that's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. Absolutely the bears. Only bulls are the ones holding calls overnight. Bears, bears, bears. Look at the S&P just crack lows of the day again. It's at 66.21s for the S&P. 66.21s. Yeah, markets are pretty freaking weak right now, dude. We got the ECB rate decision going live in about 5 minutes. The Tigers? Aren't the Tigers kind of falling off in terms of baseball? No? Yeah, they're 1-2 in SEC. Fa. My daughter shows me what the fa, you know. All right, so again, we just got breaking news that the U.S. President Trump and Japanese Prime Minister are set to announce a $40 billion U.S. reactor project, according to Bloomberg News. So again, Trump and Japan Prime Minister set to announce $40 billion U.S. reactor project. We also had China's foreign minister say the UK counterpart that China and the UK should step up communication and do things conducive to peace. All right, guys, but we have the European Central Bank decision going live in about 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Here we go. Again, Brent surging over 115 earlier. 3 minutes left. Who cares about this reactor project? Really, I'm just covering breaking news, my friend. All right, we also had news about earlier that U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says the U.S. may remove sanctions on Iranian oil that are on water. That is on water. All right, here we go. We'll look up the ECB decision. Here's WTI crude at 96.50s, but Brent crude is almost $20 in premium of what CL crude futures are. So Brent crude almost $20 higher in premium from global oil risks. All right, guys, so we are waiting for the European Central Bank decision going live in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Make sure you guys hit the live button next to the play button. Again, what we're going to be looking at in regards to this in the ECB decision, what we're going to be looking at here is we're going to be looking at the tone of their statement. They're probably pausing today. I doubt they're going to shock the market. But the ECB is expected to pause today. But their statement is going to be interesting because the Bank of England statement we got was hawkish. Oil premium risks, inflation risks. You know, most people agreed on a pause. And so regarding the ECB, which is Europe, we'll see what their statement says. But most people are expecting hawkishness. And I think that's part of the reason gold has been dropping so much today is from these hawkish statements we've gotten over the last 24 hours with the FOMC, with the Bank of England, and now potentially with the ECB going live soon. So here we'll put the S&P up or the NASDAQ, but here's the S&P. It's at 66.24s right now. All right, guys, what will be said in the statement here today? All right, guys. Here we go. Statement's going live in less than a minute now. S&P is right around the lows of the day here. Right around the lows of the day. Here we go. And here's the release right here. Let's see how markets react to it. All right, there's the release. The release is right just now. So, again, we paused interest rates as expected today by the European Central Bank. We did pause rates as expected today by the European Central Bank. Now, let's cover the tone of their statement here. So, again, ECB keeps rates unchanged as expected. And we'll give you guys some updates on their tone. So far, the S&P recently cracked lows here today. So, the S&P did crack lows. But again, they did pause rates as expected. S&P just broke down. Gold continuing to tumble here. And they did stress ECB is going to follow data-dependent meeting-by-meeting approach determined to ensure that inflation stabilizes at 2% target in the medium term. Middle East has made the outlook significantly more uncertain, and they see 2026 inflation at 2.6% prior to the 1.9% expected previously. So they do see inflation for 2026 at 2.6% prior to the previous forecast of 1.9% by the ECB. They did say that the Middle East has made outlook significantly more uncertain and that they're going to follow a meeting-by-meeting data-dependent approach. S&P 500 is actually rebounding some right now. So we'll put this up on screen, but again, Middle East has made outlook significantly more uncertain. They did pause rates Look at the NASDAQ rip up on this news, though. So data-dependent ECB. Look at Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin is under some levels, too, here. Yeah, they leave rates unchanged as expected. And again, they basically stressed a data-dependent approach. They're not pre-committing to a particular rate path. They said the war in the Middle East has made outlook significantly more uncertain, creating upside risks for inflation and downside risks for economic growth. They said new ECB staff projections exceptionally incorporate information up to 11th of March, a later cutoff date than usual. And again, that they're determined to ensure inflation stabilizes at 2% in the medium term, but that Middle East has made outlook significantly more uncertain, and they see 2026 inflation at 2.6%. Prior forecasts were at 1.9%. Look at the NASDAQ, S&P, Dow, Nvidia, and others push up. Look at the S&P rebounding here. Gold is up a little bit as well here. Yeah, oil coming down, but still at 96 a barrel for WTI crude, and Brent is much higher. See what we get at the opening bell today. But again, the ECB says the economy has shown resilience in recent quarters. New ECB staff projections exceptionally incorporate information up to 11th of March, which is a later cutoff date than usual for inflation excluding food and energy, so core inflation. They staff project an average of 2.3% this year, 2.2% in 2027, and 2.1% in 2028. But they said the war poses upside inflation risks and downside growth risks, but they're not committing to a particular rate path. We also had a joint statement by the G7 that says the U.S. and that the U.S. expresses readiness to contribute to appropriate efforts to safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. So that the ECB raised headline forecasts. Yeah, we'll see what the market does at the opening bell now, but we had a joint statement by G7 that says they express readiness to contribute to appropriate efforts, safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Goldman Sachs also saying that massive investments in AI contribute to basically zero economic growth last year. So far, though, this meeting has made the S&P 500 bounce here. Look at this level we have on this chart. S&P 500 bounce, gold rebounding some. Bull or bear open today, guys? We get a bullish or bearish open this morning. What do you guys think? Yeah, we're at 66.40s right now. Look at the S&P continuing to rebound ahead of the opening bell here. Look at this move up. Gold rebounding, S&P rebounding back up ahead of the open here. Yeah, do we get a green day today, guys? Bull close. And consider an open above the 200 moving average is bullish. Yeah, I mean, we're below gold on that old gold. The S&P is below the 200 exponential. The NASDAQ is below the 200 exponential. Depends on which one you're looking at, though. This is a 1 minute chart. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the volume weighted average price. I like the 200 exponential on a 1 minute chart, but the thing about the VWAP is, like, the thing that's useful about the volume weighted average price is that you can use it on any time frame. So here's 24,568, 1 minute chart on the VWAP, 24,568, 30 minute. You know, so the good thing about the VWAP is that it stays the same regardless of which chart you look at, or which time frame chart you look at. All right, the NASDAQ went right up to the 200 exponential, rejected back down here at 24.5s. Opening bell is at 9 minutes here. 9 minutes. Let's see what we get today. But 9 minutes left until the open. So I do see news that the Indonesian president wants to increase oil production and is to anticipate rising fuel costs. But EC staff expects economic growth to average 0.9% in 2026, 1.3% in 2027, and 1.4% in 2028. For inflation excluding food and energy, they project 2.3% 26, 2.2% 27, 2.1% 2028, which we already said. But very similar to the U.S., they did revise inflation expectations higher than December projections, especially for this year specifically in 2026. And they said the war in the Middle East has made outlook significantly more uncertain, creating upside risks for inflation, downside risks for economic growth. So very mirroring of the U.S. FOMC statement yesterday and the summary of economic projections yesterday. So very mirroring of that. And yeah. Let's see what these charts do. Yeah, you can vote on our poll. I see some people saying hike interest rates. You can vote on our poll. Will we get a rate hike in 2026? Is the question of the poll. I don't know. Let me get a timer up. All right, so we have Israeli officials saying the attack on Israeli officials saying the attack on South Pars gas field was coordinated with the U.S. but will not likely be repeated. All right, so here's some turning down here. Look at the NASDAQ, S&P drop. Look at these drops here. This is probably the market on open data that we're getting, but look at gold. Gold's staying stable here, but look at the NASDAQ and the S&P data, or prices coming down here, close to lows ahead of the opening bell. Here, I'll put a timer up right now for the opening bell here. Same timer. See, I don't know if this one's working. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. Here's the market open timer. We'll put that up in the top left side of this. There we go. All right, guys. Here we go. NASDAQ very close to lows, rejecting that 200 exponential. Gold is very close to lows as well. S&P very close to lows also. Everything kind of turning down here. Qatar Energy says we will be losing 12.8 million tons per year of liquefied natural gas for 3 to 5 years, around 17% of Qatar's export LNG. The CEO also said we may have to declare force majeure on long-term contracts for up to 5 years for LNG supplies to Italy, Belgium, Korea, and China. We have had Brent crude settle down close to 113s today. But recently, after these quotes here, look at the spike to Brent crude. So, here we go. Again, Qatar Energy CEO, so we might have to declare force majeure on long-term contracts for up to 5 years for LNG, liquefied natural gas supplies to Italy, Belgium, Korea, and China. We'll be losing 12.8 million tons per year of LNG for 3 to 5 years, around 17% of their export LNG. This is influencing markets for sure. Gotta wait for the dust to settle. All right, guys, here we go. 4 minutes. WTI crude. WTI crude actually just recently spiked on this. I guess the NASDAQ fell, WTI went up. So did Brent. Again, here's Brent, if we're looking at it. I think Brent just, let's see. You see Brent spike in the last 5 minutes. All right, guys, here we go. Germany also considering a windfall tax to combat fuel price surges. But yeah, Qatar Energy CEO says 2 of their 14 liquefied natural gas trains and 1 out of their 2 gas to liquid facilities were damaged in attacks, according to reports. All right, guys, here we go. Again, I did want to thank you guys for hitting that subscribe button here. We broke 170,000 subscribers. So I appreciate the love. We'll see what the market does at the opening bell, but yeah, thanks so much. And if you want to help support me, again, use coupon code BT on Apex. You can use coupon code BT on Apex. Cheapest accounts in the game. Most day traders lose money. So again, if you're trying to day trade, we should have single stock futures within a couple months, I think. They said they're probably going to do it during the summer pending approval. But if you want to day trade, don't fund your own account thousands. Trying to get around the PDT rule. Most day traders lose. Try a funded account program. You're still probably going to lose, but it's a lot cheaper to lose this way and learn this way because you're still risking something. Like, you still have that risk versus funding your own account thousands of dollars and losing it like I did. Again, coupon code BT on Apex if you want to help support the channel. A great way to help support the channel. There's also a direct to funded option as well with Lucid. So here's the Apex code. Again, here's the Apex code pinned at the top of the chat if you want to check it out. I'll put it one more time up. But you can also check out Lucid. You can also check out Lucid for direct to funded accounts here. You know, the good thing about Lucid is if you don't want to have to pass one of the challenges, just be careful because it can kind of, you know, but you can go to direct to funded option on Lucid. Some of the most relaxed rules in the game. You can use coupon code BT here as well. Direct to funded for $238 for a 25K account. End of day drawdown option. And so there's some, you know, useful stuff here. I'll put the link up for Lucid if you want to check it out. Great way to help. So again, Lucid has some of the most relaxed rules in the game as well. Again, you can use coupon code BT for that one also. Hey, thank you for gifting the membership. Faye, you got a membership. Congrats. But shout out to Robert Butler for sending a membership. Other YouTubers make me lose money. Only John gives me peace in the market. Love John forever. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I believe that. You know, I believe that. All right, guys, here we go. Here's the opening bell in 30 seconds here. 30 seconds. I try to just be honest with you guys. I don't know what we're going to get. But we'll see what we get today. Here we go. We're going to be day trading at the opening bell on our funded Lucid account as well. Watching oil, watching gold today for sure. NASDAQ around lows ahead of the opening bell. Let's watch gold as well. Gold is back up to almost 4,600s. There's the opening bell, guys. If that's delayed, hit the live button next to the play button. You'll catch up. But hit the live button next to the play button. You'll catch up to the stream. Look at NASDAQ dump down at the opening bell. Look at the NASDAQ drop right at the open. We are falling down. The S&P just cracked lows as well. NASDAQ is falling here. Now, this is just the first move. Sometimes the first moves can be wrong. Yeah, shout out to Robert. Thank you so much. Shout out to Faye. Congrats. Look at the NASDAQ breakdown. S&P breaking down. NASDAQ falling down here. Almost down to 24,300 on the NASDAQ here. With more escalation news here today, guys. More escalation news. Oof. Red open. Again, man. More red today, guys. More red. Again, the S&P down to 66.17s. Here's gold. Gold at 45.7s. NASDAQ still trying to flush down. It's at 24,370 here. 24,370 on the NASDAQ. We're going to be day trading today, but we have to kind of wait. I don't know if it's the biggest wrong move. Sometimes the first move is the wrong move. But this isn't a huge move for the opening bell. We're going to look for a range break here. It's definitely not like crazy small, but I wouldn't say it's like crazy big either here. Like this size candle, you know, I don't know if that's the craziest move we've ever seen. Yeah, MU down. You can see MU, some of the stocks that are dropping at the opening bell. Here's MU. MU's falling some over the last 10 minutes. SanDisk, a memory provider, over 700 though. So the memory prices we've seen are continuing. There's SanDisk. You can look at Nvidia here. Nvidia, when I last looked at it, was under 180s. It's now at 177 for Nvidia. So Nvidia helping drive some of this red action at the opening bell here today. Yeah, Nvidia helping drive some of this downward pressure right now. Remember, tomorrow is triple witching as well here. Yeah, tomorrow is triple witching. Bank of England, Governor Bailey says the Bank of England is facing a different context to 2022. Rates are high, demand is soft, there's no COVID effects, cautions against strong conclusions about Bank of England hikes. Yeah, Nvidia just cracked lows. Tesla is breaking lows. Look at this 381 level on Tesla. 381.40 is a low on Tesla. It's at 382.50s, but it's very close to that now. So we're seeing tech weakness at the open. But we are seeing some stabilization in the price of gold. So we have Kuwait suspending 2 operations at 2 refineries after the attacks, apparently. Triple witching is a day where all 3 major contract types expire. It includes index options, stock options, and index futures. Day of historical volatility in markets. All right, guys. Yeah, here we go. We gotta wait a couple minutes here. Tesla just cracked lows again. Let's watch 380s on Tesla. Nasdaq's starting to pick up some strength here, though. Look at Tesla still falling down. Tesla at 380s right now. 380s. Nvidia falling all the way down to 176s here. 176 for Nvidia. Streamers are cowards. President's costing our bags day in and day out, but nobody calls it. I mean, I'm pretty neutral on all this stuff, man. I really am. Like, do I think there's risks? 100%. I'll tell you this, though. Most streamers do better when the market's crashing. Not in terms of gains from their stocks, but views for their channel. More people tune in when there's a fire, if that makes sense. Just to be real with you. It's the end of the world again. Shocking. Yeah. I'm waiting to trade. We are going to be trading today. I just got to sit on my hands and wait for a little while, though. We had a green day yesterday. I mean, I think Bear's the only really side I'm interested in right now. You know what? We'll short. Am I breaking my rules? No, I'm not. Okay, we're shorting. I don't usually short low of the days here, but I think in this case it's a little bit more understandable. I'm just going to see if we continue to break. I feel like I had a dream about volume profile last night or something. All right, I'm going to take some more size here. We have 4 contracts. Here we go, we're green. There we go. We'll take half of that off immediately here. Lock it in. We're after the opening bell here, so we are already up about $100 in about 5 seconds. I wouldn't really recommend it. We'll hold on to 1 and then add to it if it goes in my favor, and then hold the rest break even here. Give it a little bit more time to break down more. There we go. Here we go. I'm going to cut it right here at these lows. I could maybe have held it longer, and I feel like I might get kind of bummed out. But When we're up that much that quickly, I think I have to just, celebrate it. A nightmare. I woke up half asleep, bought 0-day to expiry options, and then went back to sleep and woke up. My money was gone. I don't know if that's that. Yeah, that might be a true story for a lot of people here. I don't mess with zero DTE options. They're too freaking risky, man. All right, let's see if we bounce. Celebrate your victories. Do we have any bulls in chat today? If we do have some bulls in chat, why are you bullish? I'm not criticizing. I'm not saying, why are you bullish, bro? I'm asking, explain why you're bullish right now. Maybe you're right. And if you are right, you can celebrate, and we'll give you credit if you're right. Are the bulls going to gain control at the opening bell? Let me know. Let me know. Any bulls in the chat right now? Show yourselves. All right. They have called me a perma bull pretty regularly. But that's usually long-term investing. Bullish on oil? Oh, yeah. Speaking of oil. 9670s. Here's the S&P 500. Hit 6600s. It's at 6620s right now. All right, guys. Federal open when people are in fear. All right, guys. So yeah, I'm looking at this. Hold on. We are getting a little bit of a rebound here. I'll wait. So at 10 o'clock today, the Fed is doing an open board meeting. All right, guys. So the NASDAQ, where's the bulls? Bulls celebrate. I'm bullish with covered calls. I'm bullish because the US dollar is going to have to retrace back down. I can respect that. Universal. I can respect that. Bullish because life have to go on. It can't get worse. Famous last words. It can get worse. I'm not saying it's going to, but it obviously could always get worse. Friend. Bank of England's Bailey says, I would caution against reaching strong conclusions about US raising interest rates. U.S. intelligence chief Gabbard says objectives in Iran of U.S. president are different between Israel and the U.S. Yeah, seeing some pressure weaken on the buy side. Seeing the small rebounds back up. I'm going to look for the opening range breakout system here. So far since 8:30, here is a 10-minute look at it. Pretty nice little compact opening range, so I might target that. In the NASDAQ here, same thing. Here's the opening range. Really, I'm going to look for this pre-market range as well here, but this is the opening range right now. In the NASDAQ, we are going to be watching for a trade in. So let's see if we get a break of this range and then maybe a retest that we can jump in. AMC bounced. Looking for a bearish engulfing candle on the 5-minute. Hmm. All right, so we did just get a pop over the opening range here. Now, I don't know if I like it enough. The 200 exponentials down there, we are getting a retest of it. I just don't want to get a fake out here. I could maybe take a small short or a small long in this retest, but it's going to be really small here if you look at this. I take a little piece off. I don't trust this here at all, so I'm going to take one off and then hold it pretty much break even on the rest and then add to it. If it goes way up back up here, I will add to this. Just kind of starting to now here. Kind of flat right now. Let's see if we can add some more to this if it goes higher. But I like adding to winning positions. Winning positions make more sense to add to. The losing position, you can get in trouble. So if you set a rule where you can only add to winning positions unless it's your plan beforehand. We're not up enough to add to this yet, though. Here we go. It's just not enough to add to yet. I'd rather scale in here. In the opening stages of building these funded account profits, I think you got to trade small and then let that kind of compound. All right, there we go. It's up a little bit, but I'm still holding this flat. How much time we have? We have a couple minutes left until the first 15 minutes are done. I'm trying to be patient, maybe up to the 200 exponential, but it's also kind of the first 15 minutes of the day here. All right, this is better, but let's see if it holds. All right, we'll add to this now. There we go. Take half off. Go. We're going to cut it right there. Not a bad little scalp. Little cup and handle looking thing here. Yeah, the orb is still here, though. For the most part. 200 exponential up there is looking more interesting. I used to trade the euro. 9-year strong. Buying strong dollars like buying retail prices. Yeah. I can get that. Yeah, I wonder if Jerome Powell's going to be at this FOMC board meeting. And he's going to speak. Now, I think he's going to be speaking on bank regulations here. So it's not going to be like a normal... I'm showing that the Fed, Jerome Powell, supports proposals that it's prudent to re-examine rules and propose core capital requirements for large banks. But U.S. regulators are unveiling plans to ease capital rules for big banks. Fed's bar dissents on the proposal, says the total changes would reduce GSIB capital by 6% or $60 billion. All right, guys, NASDAQ is just kind of chopping sideways here. We are green on the day, though, trading. But... yeah, where's gold at today? So... gold is edging lower right now, though, as we speak here. So look at gold. It's still pretty much flat over the past 20 minutes. But it is edging lower. It is edging lower here. All right, we're kind of pushing back into this range. Here's the S&P. So we have the 15-minute opening range here. That's the 15-minute orb. We can look for it to break, maybe. I'm picking up a little copper. Hey, good luck. MU and WC. MU's back up a little bit here. It's still down a lot. They had really good numbers, but gross margins and capex is making people worried for MU. But it's back up since the opening bell. We'll see if it holds. Nvidia has fallen down. Nvidia is down to 176s here. Hit 175s. So I think there's reasons to watch Nvidia as well. Yeah, Bitcoin. I see somebody mentioning MicroStrategy. Bitcoin has rebounded back up if we look at it here since the opening bell. Bitcoin has rebounded. Here's the opening bell right here. So it's up a little bit. It's almost back up to 70K. We're really getting kind of a choppy range. And remember, tomorrow's triple witching day. So just be careful tomorrow, guys. Yeah, Lagarde's going to hold a conference. We'll see what she says. But I have no idea. Remember, at 10 a.m., they're supposed to do the open board meeting for the Federal Reserve. Let me look more deeper into this. Yeah, we did have Jerome Powell yesterday talk about the risks. The risks to inflation from the Middle East conflict. Yeah, it's triple witching. All right, guys, so we just broke the top of that range again. The only thing I'm worried about is here's the 200 exponential right here. Let's see if the 200 exponential rejects it. Depends on what stocks do, of course, but here's gold. Nvidia at 176 is here. Although the Nasdaq is over that 15-minute orb. Iran's foreign minister on X says zero restraint if our infrastructures are struck again. Any end to this war must address damage to our civilian sites. The only reason for restraint was respect for requested de-escalation, he says. Our response to the attacks on our infrastructure employed fraction of our power. So again, Saeed Abbas Arachi, who's Iran's foreign minister, says our response to the attacks on our infrastructure employed fraction of our power. The only reason for restraint was respect for requested de-escalation. Zero restraint if our infrastructures are struck again. Any end to this conflict must address damage to our civilian sites. End quote. So there's the 200 exponential on the Nasdaq here. Yeah, so there is a break of that 15-minute orb. Yeah, he's basically saying that the attacks only hurt a fraction of their stuff. That our restraint is because they wanted de-escalation, and that there would be no restraint if struck again. All right, so NASDAQ is green. Ugh. Ugh. Excuse me, guys. Sneezes. I got a little cold the last few days. It's weird how that works. I was just telling people I haven't really been sick for a year, and then boom, immediately. That's how it goes. Should we buy this dip in the NASDAQ now? Do you guys trust this this green action? I wonder if this conflict will cause the AI bubble to pop. Not yet, but speaking of AI, there's NVIDIA. NVIDIA's going back green. It's at 177.5. So it is weak on the day, though. MU's down significantly after gross margin worries and CapEx worries, even though it killed it with earnings, raised guidance as well. Is this dip worth buying? Chat. What do you guys think? Should we buy the dip here? I don't know. Should we? It's kind of at the 200 exponential, although I do see MU starting to rebound back up. You're buying the dip? Really? About the gold dip? All right, NASDAQ up to 24.5s here. I try to buy NASDAQ 100. AI companies are making too much for the bubble to pop. Buy the gold dip. Yeah, I don't really hate the gold dip. Is it without risk? No, but I think it's the dippiest dip in markets right now. All right, so Lagarde is speaking, by the way. Lagarde says growth driven by services. Investment should grow. The conflict is disrupting commodity markets and weighing on confidence. And that external environment remains challenging, according to her. So that is where we're at now. News in 5 minutes. What do we have in 5 minutes? We got new home sales. I mean, we'll look at new home sales. Lagarde is speaking right now, I think, but new home sales in 5 minutes. Wholesale inventories in 5 minutes. We'll cover it, but it's not big news. Yeah, I don't think Powell. Wait. So Powell did have an opening statement here, but he's only talking about bank capital proposals. And so he said, in the wake of the global financial crisis, regulators, including the Fed, increased the quantity and quality of loss-absorbing capital required by banks. Blah 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 blah. So there is an open board meeting, but they're not going to say anything about economics, and I think There is a blackout period of time. So the Nasdaq's pulling back under the 200 exponential. Yeah, I mean, new home sales, I mean, I'll cover it, but it's not, I don't think it's going to have some big influence or anything like that. Again, if you want to help support the channel, you can check out Apex. Some of the cheapest accounts in the game. We have a dip here. Maybe we'll buy this dip. But you can check out Apex. Again, their sale ends in 14 hours, guys. 14 hours. You can use coupon code BT. They do have some cheap accounts now. Again, most day traders lose. You're still probably going to lose in prop firms as well, but it's a lot cheaper generally to lose here than fund 510 and lose that. 510,000 and lose that. Their 50K account, if you use my coupon code, is only $2 more than the 25K one. Right? If you do the end of day drawdown, same thing. $27 for the 25K account. 50 is only $29. So $2 less. Use coupon code BT. I'll put the link up. Cheap accounts, it lets you learn and risk something, but not risk too much money, like most day traders end up doing. And I know I did. Again, I'll put this link up one more time if you want to help support the channel. I don't know. The bulls just we broke under the 200 exponential. The problem is like tech is starting to run. MU is up to almost 440s. Nvidia is up to 177.5s. It's not. I wouldn't call this a run necessarily. Just we're starting to see some more strength. So. Oil stabilizing a little bit here, but it's still up. But yeah, here's new home sales in about a minute. We'll cover it, but it's probably not going to move markets in any significant way, to be honest here. Like, I'm not seeing any big moves to markets from this. Well, we'll see. 10 a.m. We got, again, at 10 o'clock this morning, we have new home sales. We have wholesale inventories. And Lagarde is speaking right now. She said, external environment remains challenging. Wars disrupting commodity markets. Corporate profits recovered, labor costs rose, wage indicators point to continued moderation, and an increase in energy prices will drive inflation above 2% in the near term. Indirect effects would require closer monitoring. Wage indicators suggest costs for labor are going to ease further. Core inflation indicators are consistent with the 2% target, though. And it's essential to swiftly adopt digital euro legislation. All right, there's the new home sales. So new home sales ended up showing much lower than expected at 587K versus 722,000 expected. This is for January, but 587,000 new home sales versus 722 in January. It's down 17.6% from the 712 it showed up last time to the 587. Yeah, I mean, markets are down significantly. I appreciate the $5 donation, but the Dow has had a tough time here. It's at 46,000 from 50,000. So the Dow, I mean, yeah, the Dow is not at 50K anymore. But if you look at even like 50,000 versus 46,000 right now, you know, we are down 7%, 7.5% from the 50,000 highs that we were in. I appreciate the donation. But yeah, I mean, we're down for sure. We'll see if this weakness continues. Where's gold and silver? So Dow is pushing back up. We did hold around the previous bottom here in the Nasdaq, so it's looking green. I got too many windows up in this chart, man. I really do. I got so many freaking windows up here, dude. All right, is it worth it to buy the 200 exponential now? Is the question. Is buying the 200 exponential worth it here? Here's the volume profile. We get a dip down to like here, maybe I'll buy this. Maybe here too. The volume stacked up against the 200 exponential. Yeah, if I do buy, it's going to be small. Also, just to throw this out there, we did have wholesale inventories down 0.5% month over month for January. This is delayed data, though. Market is kind of flat right now, though. It's still not doing much. Look how slow this is, though. We're not really moving at all. The 10 a.m. meeting is just, number one is, they're doing this now. Like the 10 a.m. open board meeting, they're doing this now, but we're still in the blackout period by the Fed, meaning they can't give economic outlook right now. It's the blackout period. Maybe after this they will, but again, so the meeting is going on. Like you can hear it.
To modernize the capital framework starts from the bottom up and review.
Like here's it right here.
Of the framework.
But the problem is that they're not going to be.
Each requirement on its merits.
This is just bank regulation meeting. So even if Jerome Powell is there, it's not going to move anything. New home sales did show up weaker than expected. Yeah, so new home sales did show up weaker than expected. All right, so we're down at 24,500s here. So we are down at 24.5s. Yeah, new home sales were down. They were weak. They should have been negative 17.6%. Put that up on the screen right there. Here's the 200 EMA. I was thinking about buying this little pullback here, but might have missed my boat, to be honest. We're up hundreds on the day, though, so I mean, maybe I'll just chill. This is a Lucid direct-to-funded account, by the way. So, I'll do one more shameless plug here. But I really like Lucid because they have direct-to-funded options. I should have bought the dip. You know, 60 million paid to traders, 50,000 plus traders use Lucid. Average payout time is 15 minutes. End of day drawdowns 10-to-1 micro scaling. No hard breach rules. 90-10 split once you're funded. No payout windows. Clear and simple rules. You can withdraw funds daily as well. And they have a directed funded option. So if you use my coupon code BT directed funded, you get it for $238, which is a pretty good deal. And it's got pretty reasonable relaxed rules as well. So if you want to get funded, I think Lucid's a good option. Apex is a good option if you want cheaper accounts. But Lucid, good option if you want good rules. Both of them are good for their own reasons. Yeah. See what happens today. But you can use coupon code BT for both of those, Apex and Lucid. The Apex sale actually ends in a couple hours, though. I'm a dad, 48 years old, with almost 2-year-old and 4-month-old. Started late. Hey, kids are a blessing, though, brother. They really are. I was a complete screw-up before I had children. You know, kids will get your mind right. Anyways, we're back to the 200 exponential. I don't know if I'm going to buy this. I don't like the retest of it. Maybe if we pop over it and then retrace back down, I will buy this. Okay, I think that's fair. I'll buy this now. There we go. Man, it just went so much in my favor short term. Let's see if it holds. Alright, I'm going to liquidate one of that and then maybe add back if we keep going up. Alright, so like I said, we're going to add to this if we retrace. There we go. There we go. Take half off again. See if we can add back to this on the pop. I'll add right here. Then if it starts to break down too much, we'll just cut it. But I hope it pushes back higher here. I'm gonna get out half of that one just to protect it. I don't want to risk too much here. We're kind of chopping sideways, so we'll see if triple witching tomorrow does anything. But and I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this. We're green, definitely green on the day. Yeah, we're just chopping here at this point in time, guys. Mark's not really looking that good. Sideways. You guys long or short right here? Long or short? Yeah, will we get a stock market crash on triple wishing day? We're now under the 200 exponential. All right, we're now, yeah, we're not really moving here, guys. So I'm gonna cut out of here. I'm just not really feeling this price action. It looked like we were strong, but we didn't really hold that, and now we're just kind of chopping sideways in a really boring, really boring way. So. All right, there's a, as I say that, we start to pop back up. Leave? I don't know, man. I'll probably leave. Yeah, just give me a second. All right. I'm gonna cut out of here. It's too boring. All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Remember, hit that subscribe button. Use coupon code BT if you want to help support us. See what the market does. And yeah, I'll get out of here. Y'all be good. I know I'm still here. I have to redirect the stream. All right, guys. Y'all be good. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be safe. Hey, I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Give me a follow at Beginner Trades if you want to help support the channel. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early. Green day for me. We're green, but the market's kind of boring right now. So y'all have a great day. I had to reschedule my other stream. It took me a little time. Listen, this type of quality takes time. All right. This type of quality, you know, it doesn't happen like that. It takes time. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow.